finally the time has come for my landscape-oriented art journal pages, which were until now loose. And in this video, I'm gonna show you how I put them into a book with covers. So stay tuned. Welcome to my channel, everyone. It's Asia Marquet here, Lemon Creation. And I think that could be one of the last videos in 2022. So if that's the case, I wish you all the best for 2023. And let's start. So you're gonna see later what I'm talking about. I created a lot of art journal pages, loose ones, like the ones you can see before, exactly this format. So it's basically A5 divided in the middle in a landscape way. And I wanted to put them finally into a book, but for now I'm gonna be working on the covers. So these two pieces of black paper, they're gonna be a cover of my art journal. And I'm using cream paste from Stamperia and one of my stencils, which is called Latin, to make the covers a little bit, more interesting. I just don't want to put like normal paper and a little bit of colors. I wanted to add a tiny bit of interest to the covers. But for those who know me, you know I am not very good at adding too much elements to the covers. I used to do that a few years back, but I don't like it. I'm not very good at like real mixed media, type Finnabair. I put too much stuff. I cannot really work so well with different mediums, and I'm really true to working on the paper, making kind of like flat but not really flat pages, cards, etc. As you've seen, I had a small problem with the stencil. I rather passed the palette knife too many times over the letter A, and the paste ran underneath the stencil. So I removed the excess with the palette knife, and now I'm gonna be working on the second part of the cover. So I cleaned the stencil with the baby wipe, because like that I'm sure I'm not gonna get the transfer, from the part of the stencil which was dirty. And for this is gonna be actually the back cover, the one I'm working right now on. And for the back cover, I decided to use numbers, because why not? To make it a little bit, different. And then once again, for those of you who know me, I love putting numbers and letters in my pages or on my pages in my art. To be sure that the stencil doesn't move, and first of all, not even that it doesn't move, actually, to make sure that I'm not gonna get the transfer of the letters I don't want to have on the page, I used some masking tape and I covered the parts I didn't want to have it, which are too close to the numbers. And so like that, I'm sure that what I'm gonna get is a clean image, and it looks perfect. I don't have any other issue with it. However, I had this small spot there, and a little bit, apparently the 16 didn't work as well as I would like. So you can see me, fixing the mistake. After all, I'm gonna add the colors to it, I'm gonna add the paints, so it's not gonna be visible, the small mistakes there. And of course, you can, I was not doing magic here, I was just trying to check if my camera is working well. Of course, you can do the covers on the white paper. I chose the black one, why not? And that's the second book I've made this way. It's kind of like a harmonica kind of way of putting the book together. I already did a big bulk of it because I didn't want to just repeat myself, because I've done already one book like that, even though it was not a landscape format. The whole idea is the same. The covers, I changed them a little bit, but you can see other video. I'm gonna give you a link to the other video in the description box below, and like that you can compare those two books and two covers. They are not the same, but they are very similar, and the whole idea and the whole way of putting them together is the same. And also in the first video I gave you the link, as far as I remember, to the crafter, to the artist I learned that technique from. So you can also check her video. And now I'm gonna, based on those 2 pages, I'm gonna show you how I put the pages together. And these 2 pages are gonna be the very first one when you open the cover in my book. I wanted, especially the one with 2022, to be the first one because that's the journal I made in 2022. It took me exactly 1 year, as you can see. So basically what you do, you take a piece of scrap paper. It can be a white paper, it can be black paper, it can be scrapbooking paper, whatever you want, but bear in mind that there is gonna be a part of this paper visible. So you cut it to the size of the pages, and then you glue the pages to it, leaving just a tiny, like maybe 1-2 millimeters space in the middle. So you know you have to later fold it, and so that's the place for the fold basically. And if I am not clear with my explanation, just have a look at that. You're gonna see I leave a tiny bit of space in between those 2 pages. I use the glue, tacky glue, but you can of course use even double-sided tape. And here is the close-up of the space I left in between. But as you can see, I had to cut a little bit because the paper wasn't cut exactly to the size of those 2 pages. And anyway, you've seen me before, I was kind of changing the size of one of the pages. It was way too big. I've noticed that in between my 2 books of white paper and black paper, there are some discrepancies. It's like few millimeters, even though they both are called like A5 size. There are few millimeters which are different. And so that's why I had problems with some pages. There were some pages which were a little bit wider than the others. But as long as you can actually cut it, and this is even the case of the pages in white, because sometimes I use mixed media paper, sometimes watercolor paper. So I know for the future that I have to check every time when I cut the page to the size. I have to compare it with the previous one. Like that, I'm sure I will be sure to you know, to have the pages with the proper size. But in this case, I managed with most of my pages, I managed to kind of you know, cut out these few millimeters without you know, wasting the page, and so they stay the same size. And those are gonna be my 2 last pages. So first I start with the ones I made when the war in Ukraine started, which is very pessimistic and I mean very sad. But I wanted to finish the page, the journal, on the good note. So that's why I left the other one, even though it's, you know, it's differently oriented. I wanted to leave the one with the happy boy and nice colors, just like, you know, just with a hope for the future, basically. And so now the pages are already, no, they are not. I was thinking they are already dry, but no, they are not dry. Here is a piece of fabric. It's not burlap. I really, guys, have no idea how this type of cloth is called. It's kind of like, you know, oh la la, I don't know, canva. I think it's canva, like the type of cloth you would put on the canva. So for the lack of better word, let's call it canva. And I have it in black or ecru color. It's not very long. The best way would be to have a piece of this type of tissue, which is the size of, you know, 2 covers. So basically twice the size of this landscape thing, landscape page. And then also the spine. But mine is not as long, so you're gonna see later what I'm talking about. Just bear with me, because I know there are some things I cannot, I lack the technical words and I cannot explain it the way I would like. But basically, I cut it on the length, and then because it's not black, I cover it with black paint. This is a fresco finish chalk acrylic from Paper Artsy. A little black dress, and I covered it with on two sides, but of course you can use also black gesso if you don't want to use your acrylic, whichever way you want it. Of course you can do different colors, just, you know, I stayed with the black because I kind of wanted to have a book which is a little bit darker, simply because of the covers also. The darker the covers, the less danger that they will get dirty, simply. Because, you know, later I'm putting them in the drawer and they are lying against or they are stuck against other books, and of course there could be some transfer from other paints and stuff like that. So I prefer to actually keep them a little bit darker, but of course you can do wherever you want. And so I painted it from both sides, and then now I'm gonna be adding those 2 pages I made before to the rest of the book, which I made like beforehand, not on this video. For that I'm using this time double-sided tape, and the reason is simple. It's just double-sided tape is adhering straight away, so I don't have to actually use clips to keep the pages in place and wait until the glue dries. Once again, do whatever you prefer to do. I've noticed that with a few good you know, lines of double-sided tape, everything works well. And so which page is this one? Ah, that's gonna be the one at the beginning, yes. So I have 2 kind of Christmassy or maybe New Year's pages. You have to be very careful, of course, when you are adhering one to the other, to be sure that you know, you do it correctly. And as you can see, there is a second page which is way too big, and I will do some adjusting. So I will take my scissors and I will cut. I checked first if what's gonna happen if I cut the excess of the page, if I'm gonna waste the page which is underneath, but not unfortunately, fortunately, the page underneath was quite wide in the on the borders, so I could do that. And the same process I am repeating with the back of the book. I hope you can understand what I'm doing, guys, because my problem is that maybe I cannot explain myself correctly and you're getting a little bit lost with my explanation. That's why I also want to show you everything. And I also hope that the video is not sped up too much, but if you have you know, any problems with understanding my process, just let me know, or if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I really like to read them, and I am really happy to answer your questions. And as I said, just check the second video, or rather the first one, of the book creation, and then you can compare both and you can see how do they work, which one is better. I am using now the Chameleon or metallic, I'm not sure, Chameleon, yes, Chameleon watercolor paints. I bought them not that long ago, and they are actually quite nice, quite funny to work with. I've done 2 swatches. You can also find it, I think, in my reels on Instagram, the swatches I've made. And it's very funny because, you know, they are quite visible on the black, and you can see the swatches just above. They are really nice. They are having, you know, changing the colors a little. They are a little metallic and really nice. Iridescent, I think, is the good word. They can also work on white paper, but they are not so bright. So I think I'm gonna keep them rather for the dark paper. And I was thinking, using them for these covers, it's a good idea. And you're gonna see later on that I actually absolutely hate the effect. I've done already kind of galaxy effect page with the with those paints, and I absolutely love it. I just don't think I like when I put them all over the place, you know. I think they are the best, you know, to use like in small amounts on the black paper, I think. I may be mistaken, but I just didn't like the fact that I put them all over. And I use only 2 colors, and I'm not sure the name of the colors. I will try to find it for you. They are on the swatch over there. But I really didn't like it after drying. You know me also, I like my negative space empty, and the covers are, you know, nothing is empty here. You're gonna see later on how I fix the problem. And here you're gonna see also what I was talking about when I said that this piece of canva tissue, the best would be to have it the size, you know, which could cover the both pages, like back and front of the book. And that's why I put it there on the cover, because this part is gonna be the spine of the book. And then I made marks with my pencil, yes. And now I'm gonna add a piece of paper where there is an empty space when the canva is missing. And basically what I'm doing that for is that if I was to place the covers onto the canva, which is making the spine of the book, and then there is half of the paper which doesn't have the canva on it, it would be visible, because of course canva has a thickness to it. So that's why I am adding a little bit of paper, so I kind of make this thickness the same on both sides of the cover. I hope really this is understandable for you guys. So I don't want to have this kind of a step I would have if I was just to put the canva, you know, on the spine and you know, covering the middle of the page, and then I would glue to that the covers. So that would be visible that there is unevenness, and that I wanted to avoid. So basically I'm using scrap paper. As you can see, I use a piece of white, piece of black, why not? It's not gonna be visible after all, so you know. And you can use the paper, you know, you're gonna see actually this is some of my words I printed out, and actually I was running out of ink, so they didn't work great. So like that I keep them, and I could use them for things like that, simple. I haven't actually put too much attention to my shop lately, because I was thinking that anyway with Christmas people are busy and they rather buy gifts for their loved ones, and so I let it be a little bit in December. Also I'm busy, but I'm gonna give you guys the link, and check it out, please. I hope you're gonna find something there. I should have some new designs, but probably not earlier than in beginning of February. And now I am adding the spine of the book. So again, I am using the glue, because in this case I think glue is much better than a double-sided tape. And I'm gluing it, you know, pressing with the scissors, not to get my hands too dirty, but first of all or foremost, making sure that the spine is actually, or the canva is actually well stretched on the spine. And now you see why did I use the you know, the scrap pieces of paper on the first pages here on this blank page, wherever, blank to colored page. And here there are my two covers. They are absolutely ugly. I mean, the paints are lovely, the covers are really ugly. Anyway, at this point I was too tired to think even to make different covers. I don't like making covers. I'm telling you guys always, I don't like. So I decided to just work on them and try to fix them. Once again, I'm gluing them with the double-sided tape, and I'm adding extra pieces to be sure that they are really well adhered one to the other. Be sure that you are doing it correctly, that you're starting from one point, that you are gluing it, you know, not a little bit lopsided, but just properly. I kind of eyeball everything. I'm funny that way. I am not perfectionist, and I think I just don't like calculating. I don't like using rulers and, you know, doing everything exactly as it should be. As long as everything looks well, it's fine with me. By the way, sorry to be a little bit off the screen. This is fixed right now. I'm well in the camera, and so I am trying to fix the covers now. I'm adding fresco finish chalk acrylics from Paper Artsy. I'm sorry, this is my washing machine, I see, which is calling me. If you heard the small beep beep beep. And I decided to use two colors. One I think is called Electric Violet, and the other, if I'm not mistaken, is Lavender. And I still didn't like it. But sometimes you just have to go with the flow, and sometimes also you are so tired because you have to prepare your suitcases to go to the family for Christmas, and there are children which are not at school anymore because it's holidays, and then you have so many other things to take care of that you're just too tired to even start something from the beginning. So you just keep on going, and actually I'm happy I did, because at the end I like the book, I like the covers, and it looks a little bit similar to the first one I've done, so I'm cool with it. The next step, which saved everything, is gesso. I have heavy or even super heavy gesso, white gesso from Liquitex. I know it's hard to find it on Scrapbook or Joggles, but you can find it on Amazon, and I'm giving you the links down below so you can check it. I really love it. On top of that, it's a very heavy gesso, so you can work like that with the dry brush technique, but also if you want to have a gesso which is more liquid, you just mix it with water and you are golden. So basically I covered everything with the gesso. I'm not also super good with gesso. As you can see, there are some places when there is more gesso than in the others, but you know, that's me. I don't mind that much. I find it's kind of like oldish look, cool, like wooden, you know, a little bit, I don't know, cracked or whatever. So it's gonna stay like that because it's so much better than it was previously. And the last final touch, it's a rose gold wax from Finnabair. I think now they are actually selling it in tubes, so probably it's much better this way, because this tends to dry out even if it's well closed. But I have had it for years, and for now this one in particular I'm using quite often, but I think it's my favorite wax, and it's still working. And so I'm deciding also to add a tiny bit onto the spine. And as you can see, my book is not perfect, not everything is, you know, as I would like to be, but I think maybe with time I will learn. I am still happy with it, and yes, I think I actually did good thing. You can still see a little bit these watercolors which are coming out from underneath the gesso, so it has some color to it and it looks nice. And finally I have my pages in the book, and there are not too many pages, but it's already bulky because, you know, me, I'm adding some elements, not too much, but I'm adding some elements, so my pages are never flat, and like that you can see a little bit of bulkiness, and most of all, which you don't get from the books you alter, you know, the spine will not crack because it's made to order, I think. And that's the first book I've made. The same technique. The covers I made a little bit differently, but it was not possible to do them the same way on the A5 journal or landscape journal. So you can check that out if you want to see what was the difference between those two books. And don't they look a little bit similar? It's like a set. Cool. I love it. I know I talk a lot during this video. I am perched. I hope you still enjoyed it. If that's the case, please leave me a thumbs up and share it with your friends, fellow crafters. I wish you a beautiful Christmas. lots of love and gifts under the Christmas tree. If this video, of course, if you are watching it before Christmas. And I'm gonna see you in the next one, and the next one is gonna be the flip through of this one, of this book. Sending you big hugs, happy festivities, Merry Christmas. Thank you for being here with me, and see you soon. Bye bye.